What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. We're here recording live from the mothership Arsenal career mode. This here is episode 5 right now. Kicking it off with the Premier League action. We got another Europa League fixture in the middle of this one, but we got 2 Premier League games right here in this episode. Off to a real good start in the Premier League so far. And in general, to be honest, obviously in the last episode, knocked out of the Caribbean Cup. But it is what it is. We stand and we move. In real life, transfer windows obviously just recently closed, and Arsenal, we did get Partey, which I mean, I'm happy about, but I probably would have preferred the thing is, yeah, as we look right here, history for Lacazette, they're highlighting how good of a start he's had to the campaign, and he's on track to score 38 goals this season. Obviously unlikely that will happen, but like they say, if he continues this form, he will head towards 38 goals for this season. So Lacazette has obviously started this season on fire. Aubameyang also started this season very well. And we're starting off against Sheffield United. This is how they line up with McBurney and Muse up top. And got players like Ollie Norwood in the... Is that his name, Oliver? I don't know. I don't know. But up against Sheffield United, who had a really good season last year in their debut, their return to the Premier League. But... not doing so well so far this season, and we line up like this. Very familiar lineup to what we've seen so far this season. Back four of Gabriel coming back in. That's really the only thing that's been different for most of the season. Guendouzi, Xhaka and Ceballos in the midfield. And then Pepe, Laka and Aubameyang up top. And we start off early as Pepe is sliding down this right hand side. Whips it straight in early with the right foot. And who would have expected such a good cross with Pepe's right foot, as he finds Aubameyang in the middle of the box and he just tucks it away right there. Beautiful, beautiful finish from Aubameyang, and an even better cross, to be honest. But look at that, on the half volley, Aubameyang has completely just controlled that ball right there. Why don't you go ahead and control that like button before we get started right now in this video? Go ahead and whine on the like button. Oh, okay. That's my sign to calm it down. Just drop my fucking phone on the floor. But yeah, 1-0 up right here against Sheffield United. I was thinking, I was trying to, even while I was playing this, I can't for the life of me remember. I'm surprised I haven't even checked by now. I should have just Googled that shit. But what is Sheffield United Stadium called? I cannot remember what this stadium is called. And I know when I hear it, it's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be them ones that's like, yeah, of course. How did I forget that shit? What is their stadium? For some reason I don't remember. I've been forgetting a lot. I forgot Upton Park the other day. I don't remember what this stadium's called. I mean, I haven't seen it for so long with them being out of the Premier League, so you know, it is what it is. But Sheffield United coming forward again 35 minutes into the game. It's kind of just bouncing around in the box. I'm doing the very best I can to just stay in front of them, and as it comes into the box, Bellerin kind of takes a touch. I wasn't necessarily trying to take a touch as much as just stay in front of the defenders. And I was saying, I think in yesterday's episode, that when they get into positions like this, you kind of just have to stay in front of them as well as you can, and kind of just wait for them to make a mistake, or, you know, or wait for the perfect time to step in. But sometimes it's gonna result in that. Like, that's what I've done most of the time. I'd say about 8 times out of 10, if you play it like that, it's gonna work out well. But sometimes they're just gonna play that pass in, and they're just gonna, I mean, they get in them positions. You've seen it before with Harry Kane. Harry Kane got into a similar position in the game against Tottenham, but it was at such an angle that Leno was able to make a routine save almost. But sometimes, I mean, it's just not gonna work out. That's not to say, you know, it's unstoppable. It's by no means unstoppable, but you know, with the way that I'm defending, it's kind of a thing that we have to deal with. But Sheffield United, after drawing level, putting a little bit of pressure on us, as Liz Mousse right there rising highest and getting to the ball first at the near post. But unfortunately, for him at least, his header was not on target. And the Sheffield United manager is getting a little bit annoyed with Sheffield not taking their chances, because against teams like Arsenal, you got to take your chances. As a shot right there is blocked by Xhaka. He sends it straight out to Joe Willock, who's on off of the bench for Guendouzi. Slid across to Aubameyang right here. And the pace of Aubameyang is a little bit too much for these defenders, as Aubameyang gets into the box. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang draws the game. Oh, for 1 minute right there, I forgot that he already scored the first goal. I was gonna say draws level, but he actually puts us in front with the goal right there on the counter attack. And just as I was saying, you don't take your chances against teams like Arsenal, and they're gonna come down the other end and they're gonna punish you. And really, I mean, a lot of my career modes, I look to be a possession-based team, and I was looking to do that for this career mode as well. And I'm still trying a lot of the time, when I can at least, to be a possession-based team and really hold the ball and build from the back, and you know, play some possession football. But like I said, on this difficulty, you really have to just accept sometimes that the AI are going to have the ball. Like, when they've decided to play possession-based football, you're not going to get the ball back. And if you try and force to get the ball back, they're going to open you up, because you're going to commit to a tackle and you're going to be out of position. They're going to drag the ball back or whatever they do, because they do read. They pretty much read inputs. They pretty much read. Like, if you run at them, they'll drag it back. If you read the drag back, they'll do the little drag back into push forward that they do. So if you commit, they'll have you, and they'll open you up. So you really just have to accept that they're going to play possession. And I've ended up resorting to a counter-attacking style for a lot of this, which seems to work really well, especially when they're playing that possession-based. One thing I've really noticed that really needs to be sent to the devs, again, shout out to all them game changers out there, but it needs to be reported desperately, is that crossing is a thing in football, and it exists. And the AI, legit, I haven't seen the AI cross the ball once since this game since content, not only when I've been playing, but in anyone else's videos or anyone else. I haven't seen the AI do a cross. If the AI get the ball out wide, they start doing the skill dribbling, and then they end up just turning around and going back and passing it around in the midfield. Cross the ball. They can have 3-4 men in the box, and they just don't cross the ball. They can be wide open out wide, and they don't cross the ball. Get the AI to just whip it in. Whip it in. I don't even care if crossing becomes overpowered. I don't care. Just give the AI more options, because it becomes predictable. They get the ball out wide and you don't even have to really panic, because you know that they won't cross the ball. They're not going to cross the ball. They're not going to do it. They're just, you know, you could show them down the line knowing that they ain't going to cross the ball. So that is something, that's one of the most urgent things that needs to be patched in this game for me. If not the most urgent. I mean, I say it because, I mean, the most urgent would be defending. One thing I've noticed, even though I have done the sliders, and the sliders is really helping, one thing that I'm noticing is it is still, it's way too easy to score in this game. It is just way too easy because of two simple facts. The first one, and I was talking to my boy Wolfie about this, and he agrees. So hopefully this stuff could be passed on, and hopefully they could do something about it. But the thing is, I don't really think it's something that can be patched per se. I think it's something that we're gonna have to wait for FIFA 22. And the first thing is that the defenders simply do not track runs. And it is ridiculous to be saying that in 2020, but the AI do not track runs. Your striker will run, and the AI will just let him run. It's crazy. It is unbelievable that that is the case. And the second thing is midfielders don't help out defensively. They don't track back. Like, look at the midfielders right here. Jogging. I mean, the centre-back, the fact that I just ran past the centre-back is its own thing. But the midfielders, jogging. The midfielders should be busting a lung to get back. Look at the midfielders there. Look at the centre-mids. Look at the centre-mids. I mean, that guy at least tried. But they're not trying to get back. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And it's resulted in Maitland-Niles, our midfielder, being wide open in the box. Their midfielder should be with him, but they just didn't bother. They simply didn't bother to go back. And, I mean, again, crazy to be saying this, because as someone who played as centre mid, when I played football as a centre mid, I'm very passionate about this position. It's the most important position in football, undeniably. I'm not hearing any arguments about it. It's the most important position in the game. Look at the midfielders, just chilling. They're playing like Pogba. And this is why I have a problem with Pogba, because this is literally how Pogba plays. He just stands around. He doesn't even try to defend. But yeah, as a centre midfielder, the #1 rule when it comes to defending, at least, is if you have to be behind the ball. There is no ifs and buts about it. If you're a central midfielder, you have to be behind the ball. You can't chill on the other side of the ball while the opponent has the... No, you have to get behind the ball. You have to sit in front of your defender and get behind the ball. And look. The centre mids, again, I have to highlight them. Saka is doing brilliant work right there. I can't take anything away from Saka as we go 3-1 up. And I know I'm not really commentating on what's going on, but I feel like I have to talk about this. I really want to do a video highlighting this stuff more, but I just don't feel like it would have any effect. Like, EA wouldn't pay any attention to that. But I mean, I still might do it anyway, because my EA access as of now has actually run out, so I won't have any career mode videos coming out after tomorrow's one. So I mean, I could make a video out of all the problems that I've seen and how the things that really need to be fixed. And again, Saka done brilliantly, jumping over the defender's challenge and getting into the box and putting it on a plate for Nketiah. As Pepe comes down this right hand side again, pulls it across to Nketiah again, off of the bench, trying to get a second, and into the keeper's hands this time, unfortunately. 73 minutes on the clock. Maitland-Niles has options on both sides. Tries to get it across to Joe Willock, I believe. Joe Willock drops back to pick the ball up. Goes around his man and fires a shot off. Keeper is able to save and hold that one ball. Really started to put a lot of pressure on this. I don't even know what to call them. They were called Royale something, so I just call them Royal. Royal Mail, we'll call them. But Royal Mail being carved open again. Reece Nelson has a man wide open on the right side. It's Emil Smith-Rowe off of the bench and unable to get his first goal of the season. But we did leave as 3-1 winners here against Royal Mail and taking another 3 points from the Europa League. But like I was saying, like, those are the big things that really need to be changed. But you can see right here, again, as I'm interrupted, we did welcome Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang into our office. And obviously in this game, a lot of things were late. Obviously the transfer window wasn't closed. It wasn't fully updated when the EA access dropped. So Aubameyang's contract was still 12 months remaining. I don't actually know why it was 12 months remaining, to be honest, because it wasn't 12 months remaining when he signed it. It was pretty much expired when he signed it. But yeah, anyway, yeah. I guess they had to do that just because it's the only way that made sense. But yeah, we have renewed Aubameyang's contract on a 160,000 a week deal. I don't know why he accepted that. The game is kind of unrealistic in that sense. And another 3-year deal for Aubameyang as we come to the final game of the episode. This is how we line up. Pablo Mari, coming off a couple strong performances in Europa League, gets himself his first Premier League start of the series alongside Gabriel at the back. Midfield three again of Guendouzi, Xhaka and Ceballos, but up front, Willian steps in on the right-hand side to start alongside Aubameyang and Lacazette. But to round up again for this episode, I think it's important to talk about, and to just round up again with the centre midfielders. The centre midfielders are one of the, not just centre midfielders, sorry, just midfielders in general are, I think, like right here, look, where Jack, if we was to pause it right there, I would love to pause it. That's why I want to make one of these videos so I can pause in them situations. If you go back to where Bellerin is dribbling down the right, and you look for Jack Harrison, he's nowhere near where he should be. If he was standing in front of Bellerin where he should be, we wouldn't have been able to slide that ball through. And that's another one. There's actually 3 problems. Wingers are a huge problem because but that counts as midfielders. I guess I shouldn't break them up, but the fact that wingers never track back means that there is always a 2-on-1 from your right back and your right midfielder against their wing back. There is always a 2-on-1 because wing backs simply don't help out defensively. And when you get a 2-on-1, it's basically a free, like, again, where is their winger? Like, I mean, he is trying to get back, but why was, look, it's just, look, it would just open, and then Lacazette runs off, no one tracks him, through on goal, and not the greatest finish, but Lacazette scores. And this is, it makes it too easy. It makes it too easy. These are simple things. Midfielders need to get behind the ball. I feel like too many teams in this game are just too open. They just play too open. And then there's just, again, it's just a lack of common sense to track a run, you know. Just track the run. They're just too drawn to the ball. They run straight to the ball and just leave spaces open. And again, they kind of have to do that because the midfield isn't there. So they have to defend against 2 people with 1 player. So, I mean, those things really need to be changed. But again, just get the midfield behind the ball. Simple. Like, look at my midfield. Like, at least my midfield aren't behind the ball. But at least I, myself, can go out of my way to control Xhaka and have Xhaka behind the ball, which makes a huge difference. But the AI just don't do that. Like, look how many players I have in front of their defense and behind their midfield. The midfield just needs to drop, you know, just drop a bit. But yeah, that's enough for that today. I think you guys understand. Maybe I'll make a video highlighting the real problems. As Ceballos is played into the middle. Again, just a man inside the box with the midfield who didn't follow him. So right now, like if you paused it right now, perfect. Midfield behind the ball. But then they just look. They let Guendouzi keep running. And no one's following him. But Pepe does it all himself. And finds the back of the net. Pepe just come off of the bench in this instance. And it's a little bit of an unfortunate one for Leeds. Again, I wasn't really commentating, so, I mean, I hope you were paying attention to what was actually happening. Leeds were actually creating some good chances in this game. And Bernd Leno, if it wasn't for Bernd Leno, just like real life, I guess, if it wasn't for Bernd Leno, we would have probably lost this game. If not, best case scenario, come out with a draw. But a brilliant goal right there from Pepe. But, I mean, I couldn't help but go off on a little bit of a rant in this video because, I mean, the number one killer of Queremos for me is it being too easy. And this is, I mean, I still can make it enjoyable for myself when it is too easy. But I just want to, I mean, this isn't the first time Queremos have been too easy. And I've dealt with it in the past. I mean, we could still improve the sliders more. And if anything, I will put the assists on manual to make it that little bit harder. I'm not afraid to do that. But, you know, I mean, I just want to shout out. I mean, sometimes I feel like, I mean, y'all gonna make me a game changer, bro. If I was making the calls, this game would be unbelievably lit. But I mean, game changers probably ain't making the calls anyway. You probably tell them the problems and get ignored, but it is what it is. You know how you are. But I just feel like for FIFA 22, I mean, maybe there's a new engine on next gen, but these things have to be these things have to be changed. Like, defenders have to track runs, midfielders have to work and get back into position. I mean, these things, it's just a little bit too easy to bypass the midfield, especially. And once you're past, that's the biggest thing. Once you're past the midfield, they don't work hard enough. It's like the midfielders just leave it to the defenders once the ball's past them, which isn't how it should work. You know, you should try and get back behind the ball. But yeah, to wrap up this episode, little show for the first time of how these players are progressing. Some players are growing. I mean, most players are growing at least a bit. Like you can see Saliba growing in stats but not growing in overall yet. But some players overalls are growing, some players overalls are decreasing, as you can see right there. David Luiz not really playing too much, so it makes sense that he's falling. I love to see Mustafi growing because he's been really consistent within this series and I never would have expected it. So I'm happy to see that his overall is actually showing that he's growing. Hector Bellerin, another one. Love to see him grow. I really want to see Bellerin do well in this series and actually grow and reach some sort of potential. Maitland-Niles growing in stats again, but not growing in overall. Lucas Torreira still at an 81 overall, but it's still early in the series, you know. So, I mean, players, they're not all going to have grown so far. Xhaka up to an 81. You love to see it. Captain Xhaka. Growing right there. What I am seeing is most of the players who are on loan, they're not growing. If not all of them, they're not growing. And it's annoying because you can never see. That's another thing they need to change. Just another quality of life change. You can't see how many games the players are playing on loan unless they're in the same league as you. If they're not in the same league, because obviously the stats only show Premier League. Well, they only show English fixtures. So if a player's out on loan in Germany, you don't get to see how many Bundesliga games they're playing. Which it would be nice, you know, it's a little something to show. But here's what it is. Joe Willett growing, nice to see because he's been playing really well. You're going to see a lot more of Joe Willett recently because whenever he plays, I really like what he brings to the side. So expect to see more of Joe Willett. Ozil did drop. Pepe has grown, of course, because he's been on some brilliant form. Unfortunately, Aubameyang has dropped as well, even though he's been on some really good form. It is unfortunate to see that, but you have seen right there, I have actually converted Aubameyang to a left-sided, well, left winger. But a lot of the older players going down, even though some of them are playing. Like Willian's been playing games, you know, it's a little bit unfortunate to see him decreasing his stats. Reece Nelson, I mean, overall it's looking pretty good. The young players are growing well. Everyone other than really the older players are growing pretty well. So you like to see it. Lacazette, no changes with him. Which, I mean, fair enough, is what it is. Would be nice to see him grow a little bit with the form that he's on, but, you know, is what it is. To wrap up this episode, though, this is the Premier League table after 8 games. I mean, it's too early to judge. Usually don't really make any real observations until after 10 games. But I mean, we're close enough. We're sitting in the top 4. We can't really ask for much more than that. It is what it is. But what I was about to say is, even though the players aren't growing, I mean, another thing that really needs to be reported is the training is not the training, but the sharpness and morale is having way too. I mentioned it already, but the effect it has on player stats is just way too high. I think I looked at Pepe, and he's getting a +9 in dribbling. I don't know about what it just said right there, but from the next video that I've pre-recorded, he's getting a +9 or something in dribbling, because he's match fit and he's on form. It's like, really, +9? Like, and players be on good form. Your dribbling is not gonna go from an 80 to an 89. You don't go from goddamn I don't know, Danny Ceballos to Messi because you're on good form. Like, come on, man. Like, +2, +3, +4 maybe. I mean, +4 is even quite a lot in itself. But some of my players are plus. Pepe again. Pepe is a +6 in overall because of the form and sharpness. +6? So you're telling me he's gone from an 80, what was he, 83 to a fucking 89 overall? That's too much. You're all of a sudden fucking, I don't know who's 89 in this game, Lewandowski or something, Mane? He's Mane because he's on good form? Too much. But yeah, I mean, hopefully these are things that people are already thinking and looking to pass on to EA, I don't know, because it needs to be toned down. Maybe that's part of the reason why it's too easy so far, because I'm rocking 89 overall players who are really 83, but they're on form, so they're 89, and Aubameyang on form is something like a 94 or something, I don't know. It's probably to do with it, but... and then the thing is with this, a little bit, I mean, I am ranting a little bit, but the thing is with this, with FIFA and these things, they become overpowered because there's no real way, there's nothing in this game that makes players morale drop. Like, unless it's a top player who's just never ever playing, or unless your form as a team is just terrible, morale doesn't drop. Like, it's so easy to keep morale high. You go into a press conference and you pick whatever answer you want because all of them give you a boost, and then your morale just shoots up. It's so easy to keep high morale, and it's so hard to make morale drop. That once you get these boosts, this +6 in overall, once you get it, it's damn near impossible to lose it. So Pepe would be an 89 overall for the rest of the series. Pretty much. Like, I don't see any reason why his morale would drop. I don't see any reason why his form would drop, because he's an 89 overall and he's gonna perform forever. You know, these things need to be looked at and they need to be tweaked, because it's too easy to keep this stuff high, and it's too rewarding when it is high. +6 is too much, man. I think I even saw +7 at one point, to be honest. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on forever. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Until next time. Well, before that, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Remember to control finesse the like button. Knuckleball the like button. Track back on the like button and get behind the like button. I'm talking shit now. I'm out. Peace.